Hello folks, this is Joel583, and if you look back at the ConstructBot's Soundwave video, you'll know that was actually a gift from a friend of mine over at Rooster Teeth. Well, he did it again, so here we have Transformers Generations Autobot Springer. So this is for the 30th anniversary of Transformers, and he is a triple changer. It goes from a helicopter to an armored car. So here on the box we have a clear plastic window that shows Springer. Over on the side here we have an illustration of Springer in his robot mode. Also on the back of the box here we just have Springer's robot mode, in his armored car mode, and in his helicopter mode. Autobot Springer was built to be a tough guy. Everything about him, from his nickel-plated blaster cannon to his bad boy attitude, is calculated to communicate exactly to what he wants to. That he is a no-holds-barred, take-no-prisoners kind of guy. He prefers to fight alone, trusting his skills and luck to get him out of tight spots, rather than relying on his fellow warriors. After all, other Autobots fail. Autobot Springer never does. Well, that kind of attitude, it's probably best that he works alone. And for stats, here we just have a strength of 10, Intelligence 8, Speed of 8, Endurance 9, Rank 7, Courage 9, Fire Blast 7, and Skill of 7. Now, apparently this was actually based on the design in the IDW Transformers comic book series. I have not had a chance to read them, and I would like to someday. And here we have Springer opened up and into his robot mode. Now, as you all probably know by now, I like the look of Transformers that the robot mode looks like they took a vehicle and made armor out of it. Not exactly kibble, but actual armor, with a vehicle mode that looks nothing like a robot. Another look that I like probably even more is a robot mode that looks almost nothing like it could transform into a vehicle. And if it wasn't for the wheels, Springer could pull this off completely. In fact, only a plane could get any further than this. Color-wise, he has a lot of dark gray, a lot of green, and a bit of yellow, with a red and silver Autobot symbol on the bottom of his chest. Now, one thing I really kind of like about his robot mode is actually fairly fluid. Like these arms right here actually look like they could be real arms. Basically, he does not seem blocky at all. Yeah, sure, he's definitely not completely organic. He's got some jagged edges on him. Again, he almost looks like he doesn't have a vehicle mode. I really like that look. Now, as for posability, the shoulders are on a ball joint and have a pretty good range of motion. Each elbow has a pretty strong ratchet. Not strong enough to where you're going to probably break something if you move it, but it is strong enough to hold in place. He also has a swivel at the arm. The wrist can go in a little bit and can turn all the way around. He has a little bit of rotation in the waist here. Not a whole lot, but it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Hips are on a swivel and a hinge here. Another swivel right here. And more ratchets in the knees. This is the first Transformer I've had that has had ratchets in the joints. And I like it. And as for the feet, there's a little bit of foot. You can move it down a little bit, but that's just because of the transformation. Now, as for the head, you just have basically a bucket, some grill-like sideburns, I guess you'd call them. Two different crests. One that's kind of like an eyebrow, goes back, and he has a mohawk, and two ears that go back. Really, just I don't know what else to say about that. It is a good head. I like the head. I kind of think it's funny for a Transformer to have a mohawk, but well, that's just me. I really don't know what else to say about the head. It's a good head. A lot of green, he's got a pale gray face. Doesn't look too happy about things, but again, he's supposed to be a tough guy. He has not quite a backpack, but it's just the top of the car mode and helicopter mode. That's just his whole back. A little panel right here that kind of acts like a back skirt, I guess. but he had to keep it flipped up in order to move his legs backwards. Now as for accessories, he comes with 2 of them. He has a double-barreled rifle, and he has a sword, which he can hold in either hand. He can store either one on his back, and even combine for some odd reason. It has a very large bayonet. I wouldn't want to cross this guy. And as for the gun, again, it is a double-barreled blaster, apparently. And it actually fires these 2 shots. You do so by pushing up on this thing right here. Push it this far, and it fires the one. Push it all the way, and it fires the other. And they go a reasonable distance. Alright, and here we have Springer in his armored car mode. Odds are I'm probably transforming something wrong because I just can't seem to get these panels to line up in this mode. Again, I'm probably doing something wrong here, but it's just going to have to do for now. So, in his armored car mode, he has, well, basically all the yellow is now up front. Nice green going on in the back there. He also has some green colored rims. The Autobot symbol is now at the front of the car. He has 4 headlights. He also has kind of a broken spoiler. I say broken just because they don't connect in the middle here. To actually have those parts connect would end up being useless kibble. However, used right, these two do add some bit more heel in robot mode, and that is something I appreciate. Now, as you probably noticed before, the instructions say to tuck the sword in under here, and it fits surprisingly well. I honestly never would have suspected that. And the gun here can fit it can fit here, but directions do say to put it up here. And on my first try of getting this on, it was a pain. Somehow it's easier to do now. I guess I was just going in at a wrong angle or something. And of course it's able to swivel somewhat. And that's really all I can say about it. It's a good vehicle. It's a good alt mode, that's for sure. Tires roll very well. None of them are actually loose. Neither way you transform them to go to either vehicle, I prefer to start at the robot mode. It's just less complicated. I really don't know what to say about this car. I mean, it's a Cybertronian armored car, which would make sense since they're still at war. Which, if you've ever wondered how bad war can be, well, I guess you could probably use the Transformers as a hypothetical example, because they all but destroyed their home planet, and then they moved to ours. Alright, and here's helicopter mode. Now you might be thinking, there is something missing here. And you're right, the main propeller. But it is not missing, this is no flaw. It is simply right here. The sword here actually splits to 4. You simply split the sword, which for me is a little difficult. I was afraid I was going to break the thing. Again, I could have been doing it wrong. You take the blade, you split it and split it out like this. Then you take this and you just fold it up. So now you have a spinning propeller, and that plugs in right there. And it spins pretty good. Much like with his robot mode, Springer in his helicopter mode it's not blocky, doesn't have a lot of kibble. I mean, you can technically call this kibble, but well, there's really not much you can do with that. I love how solid this thing feels when it turns. Just, you know it can come out. It does not feel like it will break easy. And that's a good thing in my opinion. And just kind of a nice little touch. Apparently the tires are now supposed to be the rear rotors. I can see it. And oddly enough, on the bottom, you almost can't really see much of the robot mode. I mean, yes, you can definitely tell the split right here is where the legs are. And the head is right here, but it's backwards, so it fits in fairly well. Now as for the gun, you can store it somewhere, but, well, put on here, rotors can't spin. If you put it on here, it's just gonna go everywhere. So where do you put this? Well, it's a little tricky, but you push this in first. Then you take the helicopter and push the landing gear in, as far as I can go. This little ridge right here plugs in right up here. So you just have to kind of slide it in and weasel its way in there. And here's that dreaded feeling I'm going to break something. There we go. And it fits in there quite snugly. Of course, if you think it's hard enough getting it in there, getting it back out is much more difficult. But all in all, it does look great. It unfortunately can't really land. It's not missing landing gear because of this, but it looks nice. If he really has a problem with it, then he can just transform before he lands. So that is Transformers Generations Springer. Now these sets normally run for about $25, I think. But like I said in the beginning of this video, I got this from a friend, Wardog01, from roosterteeth.com. Real great guy, real good friend. So yeah, if you can find this set, I would highly recommend this. Now I probably said before that I have highly recommended other things, but I'm going to start reevaluating how I use the term highly, because this just rose the bar on that. So I thank you folks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.